Good evening and welcome into episode 9 of the Forge Podcast, brought to you by Shotgun Sports Network of Alabama, of the Shotgun Sports Network. My name is Ryan Messer, and we have got a lot to get into. We got Barons news from this past week as far as transactions and the homestand they had. It's going to be next to the last homestand, so we've got a lot to get into there. Birmingham Legion had a match over the weekend, as well as the Bulls had a few transactions, and we got some Stallions news to talk about as far as transactions and a few things that were talked about as far as the some local promotions. So we're going to jump into that. But before we do, I want to thank you guys for watching and listening, whether it be on YouTube, Apple, Facebook, Spotify, or wherever you watch or listen, because we're on all of those channels. We're looking to get couple more channels and a couple more methods of getting this out to everyone. So, but I want to thank you for your continued support. Also, we've got to thank Blue Spring Living Water for their continued support, because they've been supporting us since day one when we were on the Off the Reins podcast. Now we're on the Forge podcast. We'll determine how that goes a little bit later, but the Blue Spring Living Water has been so supportive. It's still hot out there, guys. It's hitting record temps, so make sure you guys are staying really good and hydrated, because and some of the water out there, it's a lot of issues with some of the local water supplies. You're having to do boil orders and stuff like that. So make sure you guys get some real good fresh water. It's locally sourced out of Blount County, Alabama, naturally minerally enriched. So make sure you guys take a step toward a healthier life with Blue Spring Living Water. And we're going to jump right on into it. This is episode 9 of the Forge Podcast. We're going to lead things off like we do every week with the Birmingham Barons, who started out the week with a few transactions. On Tuesday, Birmingham announced a few pitching changes as Anthony Hoopy Tuianatoa was lifted to AAA Charlotte. He was a great pitcher, so wish him the best up there. Also, we found out that right-handed pitchers Zach Franklin and Peyton Pallette were assigned to Birmingham from High A Winston-Salem. Then we found out on Saturday the Barons wound up releasing right fielder Tyler Nesloney. He kind of struggled a little bit in this league here, so with getting some hits. So hate to see him go, but it's a business. So, and then on Sunday we found out that third baseman DJ Gladney is gonna be back from the 7-day IL. So whatever that hip issue was, I guess it's been resolved. So look forward to seeing him. Hopefully we'll see him in this upcoming series in Chattanooga. Another thing, we had a homestand next to the last homestand of the season with the Biloxi Shuckers. On Tuesday, Biloxi started things off early with a solo shot in the top of the first. However, the Barons wound up answering back with a Tyler Nesloney scoring a run off of a wild pitch. And then Biloxi wound up coming back in the top of the fourth with a 2-run homer. And then the Barons got one of them back with Matt Hogan singling to bring in Jacob Gonzalez. Unfortunately, Biloxi wound up answering back in the top of the sixth with a run of their own. But the Barons wound up leveling the score with a 3 runs in the bottom of the sixth, with Varys scoring off of a Tyler Nesloney sac fly, and then Jacob Gonzalez hitting a 2-run homer to bring in Nick Podkul. Jacob Gonzalez did it again in the bottom of the 8th by hitting the go-ahead home run. And the totals of this game were Biloxi with 5 runs off of 8 hits. They had no errors, and they stranded 6. The Barons wound up with the 6 runs off of 8 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 5. On Wednesday, Barons got things going early with a 3-run first inning, bottom of the first, with Jacob Gonzalez singling to bring in Terrell Tatum, and then Michael Turner singling to bring in Kanan Smith and Jigba. Sean Gusenberg wound up grounding out to allow Wilfred Veras to come home. In the bottom of the 3rd, Biloxi pitcher Adam Seminaris wound up struggling really bad, and the Barons wound up taking advantage with Nick Podkul singling to bring in Wilfred Veras, who had stolen second to get in the scoring position there. Then Michael Turner wound up singling to bring in Nick Podkul, but then he wound up advancing to second on the throw home. Adam Hackenberg wound up singling to bring in Turner and Gusenberg, and then Tatum wound up doubling to bring in Hackenberg. The Barons held the 8-0 lead through to the 9th, but in the bottom of the 8th, the Shuckers wound up putting a position player in as pitcher, which was kind of humorous because he wound up throwing all knuckleballs. He wound up getting the outs, and getting through the inning pretty well without any scoring, but it was all knuckleballs the entire time. I wound up, CB kind of talked about it a little bit, finding it humorous as well. Just him just out there just throwing the knuckleballs. It was hilarious. But Biloxi wound up getting 2 runs in the top of the 9th, but the damage was done, and the Barons wound up holding on to the lead. Of the final score was 8-2. The totals for this game were Biloxi with the 2 runs off of 5 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 4. Barons had 8 runs off of 13 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 8. On Thursday, Biloxi wound up taking offense, apparently, to the domination from the previous evening by scoring 4 in the top of the 2nd. But Barons wound up answering back with 2 in the bottom of the 3rd, with Matt Hogan doubling to bring in Sean Gusenberg, and then Mario Camilletti doubled to bring in Matt Hogan. Nick Podkul wound up hitting a 3-run homer in the top of the 5th to take the lead, bringing in Camilletti and Veras along the way. Unfortunately, the Shuckers wound up scoring 3 in the 7th to take the lead back, and Birmingham just couldn't get anything else going. So the totals for that game were Biloxi with the 7 runs off of 11 hits. There was 1 error, and they stranded 8. Birmingham had the 5 runs off of 8 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 7. On Friday, the game went scoreless for 7 whole innings, guys, until finally the Shuckers wound up scoring the game's only run in the 8th. So, just a kind of foul night for everybody there. Just couldn't get anything going. We got some guys on base. Actually had the bases loaded a couple times, but just couldn't get anything really going there. That's something that we've been kind of doing better, getting guys on base, but just couldn't get them home. But luckily, this game was only 1. The totals for for this game were Shuckers with the 1 run off of 4 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 11. Great defense there for the Barons, making sure those guys didn't get home. The Barons wound up with the no runs off of 4 hits. there were no errors, and they stranded 9. On Saturday, Biloxi wound up striking early with 2 runs in the top of the second. Barons wound up tying it up in the 5th with Jacob Gonzalez stealing home and Sean Gusenberg scoring off of a wild pitch. In the bottom of the 9th, Terrell Tatum wound up walking it off by stealing home. That's one thing I've never seen is a game where the same team wound up stealing home twice in the same game. So it's crazy. Jacob Gonzalez has really started to heat up. So is Terrell Tatum. So hopefully we can get those guys, and with DJ Gladney back, hopefully we can get some really stuff going pretty well. The totals for this game were Shuckers with the 2 runs off of 6 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 8. And then Barons had the 3 runs off of 7 hits. There were 3 errors, and they stranded 8. On Sunday, Biloxi got things started with 2 runs in the 3rd. And the Barons wound up scoring in the bottom of the 3rd off of a wild pitch. Scored their only run. And Biloxi wound up scoring again off on each of the 6th, the 7th, and the 9th. And Birmingham just couldn't get anything else going. Just a rough night. I know they got the hits, just couldn't get guys in. The totals for this game were Biloxi with the 5 runs off of 9 hits. There was 1 error, and they stranded 11. The Birmingham Barons had the 1 run off of 7 hits. There were no errors, and they stranded 10. That is the next to the last homestand. And as it stands right now, Tennessee's not far from clinching the second half. I think Birmingham would have to pretty much win out to wind up getting that title from them. But Birmingham is 12 games behind in second place. And then Rocket City is third with 13 and a half games behind. Then Chattanooga is fourth with 14 and a half games behind there. And then they're getting ready to head out to up to Chattanooga, up by 59, to take on the Lookouts. So wish them the best there. They're going to kick that series off tomorrow night. So can't wait to see what they can do there. Hopefully we can sweep the series and go up to Kodak or come back home to face the Pensacola, which I believe is winning the South right now. And hopefully clear it out and go up to Kodak in the last series and wind up winning the regular season. Who knows? But we do have some news from Shotgun Sports as far as the Barons are concerned. We are going up to Kodak, Tennessee for the season finale of the regular season. It's a really special game there. We're going to go to that Sunday night game. It's going to be the last game in the current Smoky Stadium. So it's been around for a while, so stoked to see how many folks turn out. But we're also going to stick around there and be there for the first postseason game there on the 17th. So we're going to go to the game there, and then we're going to come back here to Birmingham on the 19th and play more than likely Tennessee. And then, if needed, they'll pick whoever the winner was for the regular season, which looks like it might be Tennessee again. But who knows? We'll see when it gets here. We're stoked to get up there. Appreciate all the folks They helped us out from the Barons and the Tennessee Smokies organization for hooking us up with that. Switching over to the Legion FC, they had another home match this past weekend with Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And Pittsburgh wound up getting things started in late in the 33rd minute by finding the back of the net, and then again in the 39th minute. It's just, and then after halftime, it just got worse, guys. They maintained, good possession throughout the game, but they just couldn't find the back of the net. And then in the 84th minute, Pittsburgh wound up scoring yet again. And the Legion got shut out at home once again. Coach Sohn said after the game, it just kind of feels like we've hit rock bottom a little bit. And tonight was just another really low moment. And we have to find a way to get out of it. That's now 2 matches in a row that we have just not been ourselves. And there's nowhere to go but up. But the only ones that are going to get us there is us, and we have to dig deeper. That's the end of the quote there. Coach Sohn really seems disappointed in the way that this team has been playing as of late. They seemed like they were kind of showing a little bit of fire a couple weeks ago, but just couldn't get anything going. I know he's really disappointed. They're trying to get ready for the playoffs. They're starting to get some guys back. I know we should be getting a couple guys back this coming up week, but we'll see off of injury. This has been a really injured-prone team, but, we've had some guys come in that can actually be playmakers, but it's just how it falls. But as it stands right now, the Legion is 10-10-5, and they wound up falling to 6th place in the USL Championship Eastern Conference. So, and they're getting ready to head up this week to Rhode Island FC. So, stoked to see that. Hopefully, something will click and we'll get some good positive momentum going there. Switching over to the Birmingham Bulls, where we had a few transactions over the past week. The Birmingham Bulls wound up signing forward C.J. Walker on Wednesday, as well as signing forward Colton Olenek on Friday. So stoked to see those guys. We are in touch with those guys. We're going to try to get in on camp when they get ready for camp. So stoked to see that. I know a bunch of guys are starting to come in. A bunch of the out-of-town guys that live out of town, they're starting to come in, starting to sign the contracts, as you can tell. So stoked to see that. Speaking of signings, we've had a bunch of signings with the Stallions as well. Switching over to the Birmingham Stallions, bunch of transactions occurred this past week. On Tuesday, Kaiva Tizino wound up signing with the Steelers. And then he wound up actually today getting dropped with the Steelers, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Big Tez back with the Stallions this coming up year. Then Deontay Brown was re-signed with the Stallions, so stoked to see him. And then on Thursday we saw Chris Blewett wound up signing with the Stallions as well. So then on Friday it was announced that Kenny Robinson Jr. was signed to the team. So great to see that. And then we found out again today that Matt Corral was released by the Vikings. There's been, tomorrow is the cut day, so to the 53-man roster. So we'll see how many people are able to come back and how many people will try to stick in the NFL and see what they've got from there. But as for me, we've got a lot going on. We're trying to get things ready for the fall. We've got the MILB playoff, the Southern League playoffs. We've got the USL Championship playoffs potentially coming on. Really want to see the Legion get up and play there. Then we got the start of the Bulls, start of the Squadron, and we're going to cover all of that for you guys, as well as any kind of events that the Birmingham Stallions are going to put on. I know that there is a season ticket holder only event coming up. I don't know the details on it, but Coach Holtz released a thing for the Stallions organization for the season ticket, trying to get season tickets sold, a promotion there, that there's going to be a season ticket only event. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, they just had a deadline, an early registration deadline for the season ticket holders, where you get a free shirt and a couple other things. I know there was a big promotion going on there. If you don't have your season tickets yet, hit up Corey Helvey. I know he'd be willing to help you. He's the season ticket or the ticket sales manager for the Stallions organization. So I think he is with the Memphis Showboats as well. So if you haven't gotten your tickets, make sure you get them. But trying to get ready for the MILB, because like I said, we'll be up there in Kodak, up around Sevierville, all that. So we're going to be doing an episode from Kodak in the hotel room again, like we did for the Stallions for the championship game there when we were up in St. Louis. So a little bit of news there. But I think that's about it. Guys, we've got also more interviews coming your way. If there's somebody you guys want us to interview and you guys want to hear from, send it out in the comments. Put that down in the comment section right down here, and we'll do our best to get that availability. So can't wait to see what this coming up week holds. We've got the Legion going up to Rhode Island. We got Barons going up to Chattanooga. So, but of course, this is week 1 of college football. So I'm sure everybody's going to have something to watch. So, as for me, I'll see you guys next week. Good night.